Good morning. What is going on, all you profitable stylists and all you future profitable stylists out there? What is the real difference between pre-booking appointments versus having a salon membership? That is what we're talking about today.
I have
Good morning,
no
Bernard.
idea because I have never done a membership. When you first told me the title, I was thinking, what are you talking about? Because see, in the hair replacement world, I always called it memberships. People would say, do you sell programs? I don't like the word program, but it's the same thing. But basically memberships. And I like membership over program because that's kind of how gyms do it. You buy a membership to go work out. And when you said memberships for salons, I forgot that was even a thing. I'm going to have to say I've never done it. I've never experienced the good or the bad. I've heard a little bit about it. And we talked a little bit about it before we went on. And God, I've got so many questions because you've experienced it. And I'm curious. So running a salon like regular, basically, I guess like a la carte, basically. What was the title? Membership versus what?
Versus pre-booking appointments.
Pre-booking, which, come on, everybody should be at least pre-booking because that was the power.
You'd be surprised how many people don't do it.
I am not surprised. It's hard to get my stylist to do it. It's like I don't know. I really feel so strongly about it. I feel like it's like you don't care about your future if you don't do it. Now, I think I know why people don't do it. Nervous, scared, feels pushy, feels salesy. I don't want to force them or push them into doing something they're not ready or don't know if they want to do. And I just went to the dentist a few days ago and she just opens the computer like I'm looking at right now. And I like to go every 4 months with my son. And she just assumes it's going to be 6. She just opens it up and she goes, so is Tuesday still a good day? She didn't feel like she was selling me anything. She just did it like it is supposed to be done. Like this is what we do. And that's how I want my salon to run like. And I try to develop that culture, but it still happens where the hairdresser, I see it at the front desk. Even if I hire a new salon coordinator, they will also say, well, would you like to make your next appointment before you go? And the client goes, no, not right now. Like, okay, that's fine. Oh my God. Really? You don't ask. It's not a freaking question. It's one of the things I get most passionate about in building a business because I've seen what it does for a business as far as how strong it can make your future. Memberships scare me a little. There's got to be. Yeah, so you've done it. Let's talk about it. I would love for you guys to tell us in the comments, does anybody do this anymore? Does anybody have a membership salon? I'm kind of curious how it works. I can see the good and I feel like I can see the bad. Obviously, you never really know till you're doing something. But my first question to you, describe what a membership is. Okay. And then I'm going to ask you how it's paid for or how often kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm eating a cracker while you're doing this.
I love the crackers.
Because I know our viewers love to watch me eat.
I do. The memberships, so it depends on what type of salon you have and what kind of shop you're running. So for the easy ones, I'll knock out the easy ones first. If you're running a spa, then memberships typically include quickie massages, like 15-minute massages, shoulder, neck, head, everything top, not the full body. Spas usually is like a quick facial steam, just a quick refresh, facial refresh, not the whole massage again and the extractions and all that stuff. If you got a nail salon, if you got a nail shop, quick nail polish, quick change on a nail polish. That's typically memberships include that. Come in and do it as often as you want. When it comes to the salon side of things, blow dry bars especially thrive with memberships because you can sell an entire year's worth membership and the client can come in as often as they want throughout the week and get blowed out. If you're not a blow dry bar, like a blow dry salon, that's okay, fine too. In a regular salon, you could still offer the same thing. Particularly when I had my shop, that was the thing I offered to memberships was deep conditioners, shampoos. You can come in every single day and we'll wash your hair for you. I don't care. you get blow dries whenever you want. Those were the three main things. We experimented with a couple of other things, but those three main things at that time became the most popular and the most thing everybody
So there
used.
must be levels to this membership, huh? Is a membership where you just come in and get what are the limitations? I mean, is there cut and style levels, color levels, hair color?
Well, if you think about it this way, do you, okay, so I'll ask you directly like this. Do you offer complimentary bang trims throughout the year?
We will, but we don't market it or advertise it. So that's interesting.
So, there are some shops there are some salons that do market it that way. There are some stylists that market themselves that way. There are some salons that actually charge for every single bang trim in between haircut appointments.
That's what we do. If somebody needs a bang trim, we charge for everything.
Okay, fair enough, and that's okay. It's a choice, right? So a membership could include bang trims as well. It could be advertised as such. You got to look at what is a perceived value service that clients often are asking for versus how much time does it take to perform that service and how much are you charging for it? And then you got to look at it at a bigger picture from that. If I were to give this service away and the client can come in regularly for it, regularly means sooner than 4 to 6 weeks, then that equals more frequency of visits throughout the month and throughout the year, which is more contact with that client. Naturally, the formula goes with business. The more often somebody comes in and sees you, the more apt they are to spend monies with you. And especially, they're even more inclined to spend more money with you if they feel like the perceived value of what they've already paid for upfront through a membership is worth it to them. So then when they come in, they may purchase retail more often. They may tip more often. They may book other services more. It gives you the opportunity to advertise more services to them.
Let's go back a little bit. That's all good stuff if they're in the membership. But how are you going to sell me the membership to start off with? What are you going to say I'm going to get? So those are the byproducts if somebody's in a membership. But I'm getting my hair cut today and you are trying to... Would I be a good candidate or would it be more of a lady?
No, you could do it with men as well. Why not?
What would you be selling me?
So with men.
What am I getting in a membership?
Yeah. So I could give you a facial. Depends if you're a shave or no shave.
I'm just getting a haircut today. So how's a membership benefit me? What does it cost and what am I getting base first before you start talking about the extras?
Okay. So then as a man, men generally would love to come in every 2 weeks, but for cost saving purposes and realistically, most come in every 3 to 4 on the dot. You can schedule your clock, by how often they come in. So you can give them 2 weeks to 3 weeks rather than 3 to 4. You can move it up a week and give them closer to what they like to come in as often.
What's the cost of a men's haircut?
I think the national average is $25 to $35.
I think 25 is a good number to use. So what I was going to do is say if they came in once a month times 12, $25 is $300 a year. Right?
Yeah.
Basic haircut, $300 a year. What's a membership going to cost me?
$300 a year. Okay, so then I'd charge you $400. I would guarantee that I'd shampoo your hair every single time you come in. I would cut it.
Usually included in a $25 haircut is what you're saying.
Not every shop does that.
Right. So that's the first benefit is, all right, I'm paying $100 more, and I just need to. Now you need to justify to me why I would pay. Am I paying the $400 upfront for the whole year?
Correct.
So that's one of the benefits to you and the salon is you're collecting a bigger chunk of money right now. So the first thing I see as a business owner is you are, my 11 o'clock client is texting me that he's confirming. He knows I'm doing this and he's still going to text me during a live. Anyway, so I see as a business owner, you're collecting money or I'm collecting money for the whole year. so if that client moves, God forbid, dies, changes hairdressers, I've already collected money for services done for a whole year that I may actually not have to do. So there's a benefit. I'm kind of locking the client in, hopefully, at the least.
That's the intention.
Best case scenario is they get one haircut and then just never show up again, kind of like gym memberships are sold. People buy them in January, work out for a month or two, and then quit and keep paying. So, yeah, so memberships can benefit in that way. Of course, that's a horrible way to look at it, but it's just realistic, right? It's realistic. Some people are going to pay and just never come. So I guess the balance is you got to balance and guess, kind of like insurance companies, that some aren't going to use it at all. Some are going to abuse the program, but hopefully it's pretty even and a little bit more in your benefit at the end. So you make more money and it's more worth it by keeping more customers through memberships. So the first thing is we collect a lot of money for the year, but I just did the math and it only cost me $300 a year to get a haircut. You're immediately trying to charge me an extra $100 because you're going to say you're going to do more for me.
So yes, I'll wash your hair every single time. Now you coming in once a month, but I know because I've talked to you, you know, you're getting your haircuts all the time. You would love to be coming in every 2-3 weeks instead of once a month. So you can come in more often now. And if that frequency, you can increase your frequency and you can actually be getting your haircut as often as you like. And it's all covered. Also, this is protecting you up front today, right now, from price increases and inflation. You don't know 6 months from now, nor do I. If you're paying 25, if we're just using 25 as the number now, I don't know in 6 months from now, do I have to make your haircuts now 30 because life? So it locks you into that as well.
I just did 52 weeks divided by 3. So if I came in every 3 weeks to get a haircut instead of every 4 weeks, because I would rather do that, like you said, times 25 a cut, that would be $433. But I'm only paying $400. So see now, if I actually did want to come in a little more often, then I would actually be saving $33 now by paying $400. So that's a good little sales pitch and truthful. But you're saying I can actually also got my hair shampooed every time. That's added value. And I can come in more if I wanted, like every 2 weeks if I really wanted to, huh?
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. All I hear is, but wait, you're going to lose more money as a salon. That's my cynical brain, but go ahead.
No, you have to build a value proposition to the client. You have to make the offer irresistible. And so then you add in styling in there because some shops, they only cut the hair. They don't style the hair for the client. They make the client style it themselves. They don't rinse the client's hair afterwards. They don't pre-shampoo and they don't after rinse. So you got all the little hair clippings all over the place. So you guarantee that in there as well. You can even, like I was mentioning earlier, some shops offer shaves. Some shops, they don't. You can offer a clipper. You can, and if you're in a no shave state, like for example, the state of Illinois, only a barber can do shaves. They've eliminated cosmetologists from doing shaves.
Yeah, here also.
You can't use an open razor. You got to have a guard. So, but you can go in with the clipper and buzz them down. You can offer that. Some people like the scruff, you know. You can offer beard trims. A lot of men have facial hair nowadays too. So you can do like lineups and cleanups and add that in there as well. You could do face hot towels. There's so many extra additional things that you can offer to increase the value, to make it sound like it's, well, not just sound like, it is worth more than what you're offering.
Right.
So all those benefits that you were saying from the business perspective for a membership, it works out. But from the client's point of view, you're asking for $400. You need to offer approximately $500 to $600 worth of value. If you're, you know, whatever you're asking for, you got to offer about $100 to $200 more in perceived value to the client to make it worth their while.
And then don't pre-book them because you're hoping they never show back up again. I'm just kidding.
Well, pre-booking, no. So now here's the thing. You can choose to continue to still pre-book them even if you've sold them a membership, or you can let them come in as they want. I'm a firm believer of the more often somebody's coming in, the more often they're going to spend additional money with you. It's just a fact. It's just a natural course of order.
Right. And you had mentioned earlier, which I guess we should naturally get there, but you mentioned tipping. If somebody's already paid for the whole year, I imagine the tips are bigger because they don't feel like they're paying plus tipping when they're here. Now they're just here. Now that does cut the owner out unless you are the owner doing the service, but because some people are in just a suite and they could still sell memberships. But if you're not the owner, this is not a benefit to you, but it's a benefit to your staff. They're going to get bigger tips most likely. So that's one way you could get your staff to sell the memberships. But then you brought up a good point. I don't think we really need to talk about the other way of doing business. It's almost like this whole live today would just be about memberships because I think people understand how the other way works, right? They already know how the other way works. You just hope. It's just a hope, a pray and a hope that the people come back and get their services. The other way is you collected the money for the whole year. So you doesn't matter if they come back. Actually, it's better if they do. I get it.
Obviously, you want people to come back, but yeah, at that point, it doesn't matter, right? Kind of, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it makes it easier to not, I think I'm talked into memberships right now because I got staff that won't pre-book, but my goodness, if they would just sell the whole year, pre-booking wouldn't matter so much.
It wouldn't matter.
I really got to look into this. Now, you did talk about something before we went.
Let me mention one other thing real quick, though, because you just reminded me. Here's another thing about memberships over pre-booking. Would you like to pre-book your next appointment today? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I'll call. I'll figure it out. You don't know somebody's situation financially. So, yeah, you're asking for a big chunk of money up front, but it also protects the client throughout the year. Come the holiday season, everybody's buying gifts for everybody, so they're short on cash flow. Come the end of the month or the beginning of the month, rent and mortgage is due. And if that kind of lines up around the time when they need to get the hairs done and they're paycheck to paycheck, that might shrink their cash flow. Not everybody budgets themselves properly as they should. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But
if you're the owner or a suite manager, this might be easy. It's nice to collect a few bigger chunks of money because obviously for a woman, the services are more expensive. So the membership for a year is going to be closer to 1,000 or more. It's going to be at least double or triple a man's because they're just getting a short, quick, easy haircut. Woman's cutting styles already double that. So let's take the 400 and say it's at least going to be 800. But if you're going to add color or highlights to that, we're probably going to have 1,200 to 2,000 in there to cover a whole year of what they're going to do. So if you could collect, especially during Christmas when you're trying to buy gifts for your own children, if you could get a few people to pay or spend $1,000 or $2,000 for your services, yes, you might be working during the year, not making money. Hopefully they're tipping and buying retail during that time, but there might be some time when you're not collecting money, but you're not going to sell 100% of your clients' memberships anyway. So you're going to have 7, let's say you do 10 people in a day, you're probably going to have 6 or 7 or 8 of them not on membership. So you're probably only going to be doing 1 or 2 a day, maybe more, hopefully more, but most likely you're going to be doing 2 to 3 a day with have the membership. So you won't be getting paid that day for the service because you got it all earlier in the year. And you might have spent all that money already because you got like 10 of them all at one time. And you're like, I'm going to go buy a really nice used car, and the money's gone. So no refunds, right? On this kind of thing. And then let's talk about, I can't believe nobody's commented yet about this, but what does you experience this as an owner? Go through the 2 things you talked about. At one point, you thought it should just be with the stylist that sold it, but then that stylist leaves your salon. You got somebody with a membership. So then you made them all share. Tell us the good and the bad of both situations.
Yeah. In the beginning, I figured this client is going to see this stylist. Therefore, they're cool with each other. Let's just keep them connected through the rest of the year. It makes sense. Logically, you think when you're saying it out loud, that makes sense. Okay. So you convince the client, buy this membership with this stylist. Client says, yeah, okay, sounds good right now. Now you fast forward. The stylist, for whatever reason, bounces. She's got to go. whether she gets fired, whether she quits, whatever the situation is, right? All of a sudden, the client is coming in going, okay, well, I have my membership. I still want to get my hair done. And now you're going, well, I'll set you up with this stylist. Now the stylist comes at the end of the day and she goes, where's my total? You know, she's matching her total. And she's going, well, I'm $100-something short. Well, yeah, Mrs. Robinson,
Has a membership.
had a membership. She goes, well, that's not my problem. That's a you problem. It's like, well, whose
and
problem now is it?
But you also got to think, did you, as an owner, I'm thinking all the problems along the way. You obviously don't pay the stylist for the whole year's worth of services right away.
So that was my goof up in the beginning because it was all brand new and I was trying to figure it out.
You were making those stylists rich, huh?
With the stylist in particular, I gave her a bonus on her paycheck. And it was a huge chunk of money because I split the membership thing with her. Instead of trickling it
then
to
she
her,
left, or he left.
Or
And that's when you tell the client, oh, your membership is now with that stylist where they went. But you want to keep the client.
I want to retain the client in the shop. I don't want to lose the client because I lost the operator. I want to retain the business, so I'm trying to make good.
I think the new name of this video is Memberships. Don't do what Eddie did.
Well, don't do what I did in the beginning.
Right. So that's a good thought. You got to retain the money so you can keep paying the stylist or the new stylist. If the stylist leaves, somebody else has got to maintain that hair. So you got to give that hairdresser some money along the way, even if it's a reduced amount, an agreed upon reduced amount, because you technically potentially collected less depending on how often the client comes in.
What I did was I started paying. So then I stopped splitting the difference up front as a bonus. And I would just pay out during payroll. Whenever that person came in, I would just pay out.
Right.
Then the stylist comes in and a different stylist came and said, well, if you already have all that money for the whole year and you're holding on to it for when she comes in each time, can I just borrow against it right now? Because I really need some money. And I'm going, I'm not a payday loan. Like, what are you talking about? She goes, what's it to you? She's already paid. You already got the money. Stop being cheap. I'm like, I'm being cheap. I go, what? So I explained to her what happened before. She goes, well, I'm not her. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee in nothing.
I'm not leaving ever.
Yeah, right. So I spoke to my accountant about it. And my accountant goes, it's 6 or 1, half a dozen. Who cares? I'm like, well, I care. It's my capital. Like, I just build upfront capital. I'm going to use that to invest back into the business to grow the business. 100%, I care.
I would do a loan if I could afford it and just make it a separate thing. Like, I'll loan you money here, sign here. You owe me money. Even if you quit, you owe me money. I'll try to go after you depending on how much it is and all that. And as a business owner, you are a payday loan, whatever you called it, because your staff do come to you from time to time and try to borrow. And you have to gauge how much are they borrowing? How fast are they going to pay it back? Can I take a little out of your paycheck for how long? Hopefully you stay long enough so I can get it all back. And you lose sometimes, you make it sometimes, but I like to help people. Shoot, I loan people money that don't even work for me sometimes.
Isn't it wild?
So that is definitely a personal thing, but I wouldn't let it be hinged on. I'd be happy they sold some memberships. I'd be like, because you sell memberships, I like you so much, I will loan you money. Please stay.
What it could, because it is like the comment, a bookkeeping nightmare. It really is a bookkeeping nightmare for the owner and
now
for the
you're
accountant.
talking people out of it.
Well, no, this is what my accountant at the time told me, and I thought this was pretty genius at the time, and it actually worked because we had to iron out a lot of details, but it actually worked.
Tell us.
So he told me, he goes, you sell gift cards all the time. He goes, so selling memberships and selling gift cards is kind of the same thing to me as a bookkeeper. I'm like, well, to me as an owner, it's completely two different things. He goes, well, I don't care what you do behind the chair. That's your business. I'm just here. Like, I'm just looking at spreadsheets, and to me on paper, the money's the money, where it goes, how it goes. So what he did was he made a membership fund and then he made a gift card fund. And you split the difference between the stylist and the salon, right?
Mhm.
So the money up front I would use as capital to reinvest into advertising and marketing. I wouldn't spend the money from the membership on other salon stuff. So it created for me my own marketing and advertising budget. And then the other portion that was supposed to have been split with the stylist, it got put into a separated tracking fund, which again, it's a lot of bookkeeping involved, but I was able to see that cash flow throughout the year, how fast it was drying up versus how much left over it was. And it also helped me track better, was the client coming in very often or not coming in very often? And then I was able to reevaluate why. Was it because the client just dropped off like a gym membership, in the beginning? They come in often and then they just stop? Or are they not getting the value? Do I need to do something extra? Do I need to do something less? Like it was actually worked out quite interesting.
Some of them are using up their credit, but they still have 3 months left to get services. So that's where you end up losing a little, but you got the money.
Some people are going to be tryhards and they're going to try to get everything, every last penny out of their membership. And you know what? Again, they do deserve it because they agreed to do it up front. And I'm still telling you, the more often somebody comes in, they will spend money somewhere else. That's just a human nature of shopping.
Sure. So they're buying retail, they're tipping bigger, they're buying other stuff. Yeah. And you can always be trying to, if you have levels of membership, you could always be trying to up the membership.
And they're walking advertisements because what do they say? What do they do? Oh, you're going to the salon again? You're always going to, every time I talk to you, you're going to that salon. Well, yeah, I have a membership. Like, what the hell? Like, can you think about how awesome that sounds from a woman saying to another woman, like, hey, what are you doing this week? You want to go for lunch? Nah, I got to go to the salon. Again? Like, what is happening at this place, that you're always there? So yeah. It's the best form of word of mouth advertising you can ask for. Referral business.
Yeah. So you're saying that you tracked it pretty well. Do you remember if you had a few that got way more than they paid for?
There were two in particular that were we became very friendly because they were there all the time.
Yeah. I'd be there every morning.
She would come in every single week because my salon, I had hair, nails, and spa. I had a full service shop. Mm-hmm. So she'd come in every single week. 1 week she'd get a blow dry. 1 week she'd get a polish change. 1 week she'd get a quickie, shoulder rub. Like every week she'd come in and get something else. She'd be in there so often. The staff got to know her. We got to know her. Some of the clients started getting to know her because she wouldn't leave. Like she'd come in, get her thing, and then she'd stay for an extra 30 minutes. She'd start bringing catering. She'd start bringing coffee to people.
She had extra money. She had already paid for that membership. Hey, you had said earlier you did it for the one stylist, and then later you made it where anybody in the salon could do the service. Tell us, you had said some good, and I'd stopped you before you started saying the bad before the live. I wanted you to explain it on here. Tell me how that transition went. You went to the place where, okay, now the stylist has left, and you're like, oh shoot, I should make it where anybody can do the service anytime. But you solved two problems at the same time. You stopped giving all the money away up front and early to the one stylist. You're holding it in an account, at least half of it, so you can pay the stylist, whatever stylist does it. So now you have to have some good communication and agreement in the salon between all the stylists saying, yes, I'll do services, right? I mean, they're getting paid.
Yeah, that whole thing started because that one stylist in particular, it started becoming a habit. Can I get another upfront? Can I get another upfront? I'm like, girl, you dried up your whole balance. Like there's still 4 months left of the year and there's nothing left, So from there, it started costing me out of my pocket because the client's still coming in and I got to pay. It became like a whole to-do. So I talked to the accountant and I kind of figured out with him, what is the best way to go about to do this? And again, the accountant is so funny. He goes, to me,
No loans.
Right. He goes, stop being so soft. He goes, everybody is a number on a piece of paper. On this spreadsheet, I don't know who your operators are. I just know this stylist is this payroll ID number. So to him, there was no personality, there was no emotions, there was no attachments. Right. So he said to me, I don't care. This person is a membership to this payroll ID. The money comes from this fund. Payroll is done. I'm like, oh, well, if that's the case, then I don't care who the hell does the client. The accountant goes, yeah, exactly. Why are you stuck on one payroll ID? I'm like, can you stop calling them payroll ID? They're people. They have names.
You know? Fire number 3.
It was so weird. So weird. Anyways, so then at that point, I have a staff meeting. And I'd have weekly staff meetings anyways. I'd do staff meetings weekly for the whole group, and then I would have individual anyways. So at the staff meeting, I says, look, here's the deal. I go, memberships from now on, membership clients from now on are going to be available to every single one of yous. Okay. I don't care who does it. Y'all doing it. And then you get some groans and moans. And I'm like, listen, it's guaranteed free money. You are getting paid.
But I imagine because of the membership, you must be paying the stylist a little less than they would normally get for that service.
I did not. I gave them full credit.
So what the heck are they moaning about? They're getting free client, free money.
They get nervous because you know hairdressers. Unfortunately, a lot of hairdressers become possessive. And they become very.
Oh, they're worried you're giving their clients to other stylists potentially.
And it's like is it a salon? Is it the shop's client who brought I advertised and got this person to come here?
Right.
You did her hair once. Now it's yours.
Yeah, well, some of them do really good work, post it, and then they get referrals. So they're like, I own this one, you brought that one. They're keeping tallies, and you are looking at it. I say forget about both of those situations. These clients are not slaves. Nobody owns them. That's what I say. The client decides. And this is the counseling I have to do in my salon, is we don't have the right to make the client feel bad for switching stylists. If they come in, you don't give them the cold shoulder or ignore them. Let them try another stylist. Let your work speak for itself. If your work's really good and they go to another stylist and it's not as good, maybe they'll appreciate you more. Or maybe you need to get better. That's really the balance in my head. Get better, get a better relationship, or you figure out how to hold on to that client.
I agree with you. The clients are coming to the salon for the experience. And if you as the staff, if you are the salon owner listening to this and your staff is fighting amongst themselves over who owns a client, then your staff does not have cohesion, are not getting along. And you got a bigger problem on your hand more than you realize. That eventually leads to a walkout, that eventually leads to gangbangers, like gangbusters, whatever it's called. It becomes high school cliques all over again. Okay. Right. You got to really make sure everybody is team building constantly and getting along and wanting to help each other rather than being catty against each other. So luckily, well, not luckily, I worked really hard to get everybody be together on the same page. So everybody got along for the most part, but they were always worried about, oh, who's got to do it? Why do I have to do it? That's extra work. I already have my clientele. I'm in my own routine. Now I got to learn this new person. And it's like, dude, there's always, no matter, you can hand feed somebody a stack of cash on a silver platter and they'll still freaking complain about how shiny that platter is or how dull that platter is. It's so weird. People are just freaking weird.
Yeah, we might actually interview a girl that I commented just yesterday. A girl was telling a bunch of people how much easier it is today to build a clientele with social media compared to how she used to have to do it. And it was crazy, the hate comments that she got, because people said, yeah, but you didn't have the same competition that we have today. There's more competition. There's more this. Things are harder because of this and that. There was so many negative.
On all of them, okay, man. It is easier to build clientele.
It is easier today. And it's just the people who aren't doing it for a bunch of reasons. They just aren't posting. They aren't posting correctly. They aren't styling well or taking good after pictures or posting often enough or posting in the right places. They aren't taking the time that some people are doing it and figuring it out. I know because I've got some stylists that have done pretty good with posting and building clientele, and then others that have not in my own salon. So I know it's possible, and I know some people just don't figure it out and can't figure it out. But unfortunately, when you're in a group with over 100,000 members, you're going to have so many of them that are so mad, jealous, negative,
that
and
heaviness that I was talking about. So then,
yeah,
well, what
that's
happens
why I
is
brought it
this.
up. It was
Now,
great. Go ahead.
I got everybody on the same page. Okay, the client is coming in for the membership. Okay, fine. Then the problem became where I was going with this. Then the problem became who has to do it, when they have to do it, and then how often they're coming in to do it. Now all of a sudden, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Well, we went from one person to multiple people, and I was wondering why they would have any problem at all. I like what you said, that the stylists are a little worried that they're going to lose their clients now to other ones. But when the client schedule them before they leave, keep them.
Oh, right. That was, yeah. So pre-booking got a little bit easier because now everybody was on the same page with each other, you know? So then I had to create the fund to just be available to anybody and everybody. So it became a little bit easier from that regards.
Well, RJ posted in here, bookkeeping nightmare. I mean, to me, I always thought that just gift cards were a bit of a bookkeeping nightmare, but it's just like a gift card. A gift card doesn't say what stylist that customers come in. It's just a different form of cash. I think this is the same thing. You're just basically giving a client credit.
It became big, giving a client credit. The thing what I ran into was this, though. There were, and just every salon has this, and it is what it is. Some of the staff are newer, or some of the staff are inexperienced, or some of the staff, staff are just better than other stylists. Their skill sets, everybody's
right.
level skill sets. And to the front desk, they're trying to put the membership clients with the better stylists, the higher skill set stylists. But here's the problem. If you're a higher skill set stylist, you're booked, you're busy. So you're not always available. So if they weren't pre-booking properly, or if they couldn't fit them in when the membership client was trying to pre-book, they would end up with a lower skill set stylist, and then they'd have a bad experience, and then they'd get pissed off. And then they're like, cancel my membership. I'm never here again. One strike and you're out. You suck. You ruined my life. You go to hell, right? And you're like, girl, like, it's not the end of the world. We can fix this. It's fine. You've been coming all year.
So then you had to pay another stylist to fix it, or do it better, or do it different.
So then what do you do? So one hand, you got to pay for the redo. On the other hand, you got the client is like, nah, forget it. I'm out of here. And then she's like, oh, see, I had a membership at that place and I canceled my membership. And as soon as you hear that, everybody else in her friend group is like, oh, she canceled a membership. Mrs. bragging about going there all the time. Now all of a sudden that place sucks. Forget that place. So it's like in the community, where is your reputation? It's on a constant roller coaster all the time. And whether or not you think you have a reputation, or whether or not you say you care or don't care about your reputation in your community, you must realize you have one.
Yeah.
At whatever level you're operating at, every single person has a reputation in your direct community. And you're like, well, I don't live in that town and I don't ever go eat in that town. I live 3 towns over. It doesn't matter. People talk. And that 6 degrees of the separation, yeah, it's good. The word is going to come back to your neighborhood as well, too. And sure enough, one of your neighbors is going to hear about it. And then all of a sudden, everybody on the block is going to know what is going on. And it happened to me inadvertently, thanks God, in the most positive way possible. And it raised my reputation on my block in the most positive way, which I didn't even realize I had a negative reputation on my block.
or neutral and it just raised it.
And
Yeah.
then neutral and it raised it, you know?
Yeah. I can see how all the good and the bad, and probably not all, but I don't know of any salons that do. I haven't. As I've traveled the country, I like to talk to salons about how they pay their staff, and I never think about asking about membership, but I don't think it comes up because the pay that's the most interesting to me is the salary based pay that a lot of consulting companies will help a salon with. You know, you hire a new person, they get a base salary, and it's kind of based on an average of and percentage of what everybody's doing for 6 months, and they reevaluate. So it's basically commission, but a averaged out standard paid commission over 6 months. And if everybody does better, your weekly pay stays the same. If it goes down a little. But they're all working very close together because all of their pay depends on if everything goes up a little or down a little. And I think that kind of tight-knit group that's meeting all the time might benefit from a program like this because they're all helping each other out all the time anyway, even assisting each other, because what everybody does matters to everybody because it affects all their paychecks together at the 6-month review, right? But in a salon where everybody's kind of out for themselves, I can see where this would just add to the problems.
It would add to the problem. There's a lot of moving parts to this.
You're not talking me into this.
No,
Obviously.
like, if it's done correctly, it really is fascinating and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It builds I can equate it to gift cards in the way of from a business perspective, because the client ultimately, okay, I'll tell you this way, memberships from the client's perspective is an amazing value. It really is amazing value. It's up to the client to see how much advantage they take of the membership, you know, and if they take full advantage of it, in actuality, the client wins out.
Sure.
But it's going to require consistency and frequency. The client's going to have to,
which most people don't have, and that's
most
why
people innately are lazy. So that's from the client's perspective. From the salon, from the business perspective, memberships are actually a really powerful thing when done correctly because it raises capital, it guarantees retention, client retention. It really is a good ROI. It's a good return on investment. You're getting word of mouth referrals and advertising. You're getting frequency of the client coming in. When that client is coming in often, you don't realize, here's another thing. You don't realize when you have a 6-weeker coming in and all of a sudden she sees this same client there and she's like, man, I saw her 6 weeks ago. We're on the same schedule. And then she comes in again, and then she comes in again. It starts building internal camaraderie between the clientele.
Sure.
Now that client is bragging about how she has a membership to that other client who was a 6-weeker, for example, right? Now you've got the clients you got your customers selling to your customers instead of you selling, you know? And so that becomes another avenue of revenue coming in. Your staff, it builds the camaraderie between the staff a little bit stronger too, because now they're all talking about the same person. There's a commonality involved in there, okay? The experience, the environment of the shop, it raises up in the community. It's a good thing. And that working capital that now you can reinvest. Think about this. You know as an owner how expensive it is to run an advertising campaign. Now getting a chunk of monies up front, you can put towards a blitz campaign, a one-off campaign, or if you do it correctly, you can build it up where a campaign can pay for its own, pay for itself, and then hopefully the next campaign.
Right.
A lot of salons struggle because they want to advertise. They can advertise. They just don't have the funds to advertise. And it's the worst feeling in the world as an owner that you have a great staff, you have a great message, you have everything in place to handle everything. You just don't have the means to do it.
Right.
It's the worst feeling. That's what keeps you up at night as an owner, and the staff may or may not understand that, may or may not appreciate that. This is why this kind of service, this kind of opportunity could be a very positive thing.
Yeah. And there's just one last thing I want to talk about before we get off that is kind of a hybrid in the middle here. I did hair replace. I mean, we do in the salon still, but I've stepped out from behind the chair. But when I was behind the chair, I had a few hair replacement clients that I personally did for many, many years in a row. And when it got to like over 10 years, the relationship with a couple of these clients was really good. I watched some of them go from not making much money to making lots of money as businessmen at all different ages. And I got to a point where I wanted to, like you said, raise capital to do something. I wanted to market big, advertise, grow my hair replacement business to a new level, buy another business. And so I kind of did what you're talking about, just on a personal level and just with a chosen few. You've got this client, it wouldn't matter. And this is kind of what I'm trying to tell some people. If you are trying to raise capital to do something, you can take a customer or two or three and offer them. I've done everything from 1 year, 2 year, and even one of them we did for 5 years, where I said, do you want to pay for the next 5 years up front? And I had one client do that, but quite a few would pay for 1 or 2 or 3 years up front of their service, give them a little discount for it. But like you said, you get this chunk of capital that you can do something with. And I've done that for a few clients. And you know what? Who cares what I did with the money? Let's say I just spent it all. I mean, I did different things. I bought a complete tanning business one time. I put a bunch of it into marketing. I went on a vacation. I bought a vehicle, just different things where I needed to raise capital as a young, broke hairdresser. But it didn't hurt me that much on the day to day because that client, I didn't give any promises like come in as often as you want kind of thing. No, it was just the once a month or once every 3 weeks service. But when they came in every 3 or 4 weeks, normally I'd be collecting whatever. Let's say it was $100 for the service. Well, now I'm just not collecting that $100, but I might have got the $3,000 or $5,000 or $9,000 all at one time. So now it's like I got a big chunk of money. I got to do something I really wanted to do, needed to do, had fun doing, whatever it was. But now I've got that one client once a month or 3 that I make no money on when they come in. Maybe they tip, maybe they don't, but it wasn't a big drain on my monthly income. I barely noticed it, but it was a huge help. And they had been coming so long, I guess they perceived me as fairly healthy and consistent and reliable. And I wasn't going anywhere for a few years also. So they'd pay up front for a lot. So we still have a few that pay for a year up front because they just got used to doing it. And it's a nice chunk of money. So I would just encourage anybody out there, forget about necessarily bringing in membership for the whole salon. But if you need to raise capital for, like you're saying, a marketing program or something, you can approach a couple of usually it's the wealthier clients, but not always. Some people want to do it because they're frugal and they want to save money over a year or two. Offer them a little bit of a discount if they just pay up front. You don't have to offer all the extra stuff like you're doing. It's just they're coming in like clockwork, like you said, they come in every 4 weeks or 6 weeks to get their hair highlighted, cut and styled. And you know what? If you want to save 10% on that and just pay for 1 whole year or 2 years up front, I'll give you a little discount. Would you do that? And we'll just keep because I already rescheduled a client before they left, right? And after I got used to doing that, I realized, you know what? If I just go ahead and make your appointments for the whole year, nobody will bump you from your day and time. And during the holidays, you're already set. You're already coming in for those. We can reschedule a few here and there if you or I decide to change something, go on vacation, somebody gets sick. But for the most part, your appointments will be scheduled. So we would do that. And then my next step was, all right, we got you scheduled for a year. Do you want to just go ahead and pay for them all right now? And I give you a little discount. So that's kind of a slow roll into a possible membership thing. But that was just me with my client. And then you're talking about more of a whole salon level, everybody sharing everything. And I can see where that gets more complicated. But I just wanted to kind of lay out a plan where some people could actually just get some capital. It's almost like going and getting a loan and you're paying a little interest. In this case, you're paying a 10% interest technically for getting a loan, but from a client. Maybe you can't get it from a bank. So you get it from a client or 2 or 3, and then do that ad campaign, buy that car, go on that vacation. It's really up to you what you do with the money, but sometimes you got to sell the plan of what you're doing with the money to appeal to the client. But sometimes the client just saving the 10, 20, whatever percentage you want to do is enough. So that's kind of what I thought. I've done that before. That's the closest I've come to membership.
It's a great idea. No,
Yeah.
it works. You know, all the way around it works. The main formula is figuring out what that total is, what value that is to the client, what value that is to you. Somewhere in there, there's an equivalent exchange, and there's a perceived value that's worth it to both parties involved.
And like you said, I'm thinking this is what you get, this is what you pay. I'll give a little discount. You're saying give a little more. So either way,
it comes out to be the same way.
Yeah, either way it works out. Some people feel better selling, saying, pay me a little more and I'll give you a lot more, or pay me a little less and you'll get the same thing, but you just
get the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then, so then I guess we got to talk about pre-booking some other time.
Yeah, I think we should. We've done it before, but I like pre-booking and rescheduling. I think it's a very interesting, powerful way to build your business. I don't think people really value it until they're so booked with clients they can barely fit people in, and that's when it happens. That's when you start saying, oh man, you better schedule an next appointment or you might not be able to get. I'm getting so busy. Well, you should have that same attitude in the beginning. And I'd love to
look up the statistics, because the last time I had looked it up, pre-booking versus not pre-booking immediately increased your income by $10,000 a year. And I don't know, I can't imagine that statistic hasn't gotten more nowadays. You know,
right.
It's been a few years since I looked that up. I got to look into that again.
I'll even write down some things for the next time we do that one, because I love the statistics around.
Oh, I'm all about pre-booking.
I like to call it pre-scheduling. Booking sounds like jail. Don't you book them when they go to jail?
Book them, Dano.
That's why I like to say scheduling, rescheduling. I don't really like, did you book them? Yeah, I put the handcuffs on and all. So I just don't like saying booking. Although I say it sometimes, I lean against it. Eddie, I'm going to go a little early to prep for my next.
No, I got you. Anybody that's out there that does you do membership. Do.
Yeah.
Let us know. Explain it to us. Give us a comment.
I'm so curious if anybody do or does memberships in this day and age. That would be very fascinating.
Have fun, y'all.
I'd like to interview you here if you do. Goodbye, guys.